Alright, so some evidence was falsified. That's only an extraordinarily controversial matter and apparently in this universe, so it'll probably be okay. I'm so sorry, Mr. Wright. I'm sorry for what my sister said. In case you didn't remember, here's a flashback. Drastic crimes require drastic measures. That's just the way it is. We did what we had to, in order for him to get the verdict he deserved. That just ain't right. I didn't know. I never knew that the SL9 incident was just another name for the Joe Dark killings. Sounds like everyone's heard about these killings but me. Phoenix, you are eternally locked outside of the loop. It's because you're a player analog, basically. We're supposed to put ourselves in your shoes. If you knew about all this nonsense beforehand, then how would we learn it? Lana wanted Dark convicted so badly. That's why she used me. That's why she used what happened to me. What do you mean, what happened to you? It's all there in the file. Joe Dark's last victim was Prosecutor Neil Marshall. When he murdered Officer Marshall's brother, he left behind an incriminating piece of evidence. But what did you have to do with those killings, Emma? On the night Prosecutor Neil Marshall was murdered, Joe Dark tried to kill me. What? He tried to kill you? Sheesh. Officer Marshall's brother, Neil, was only trying to save me. So that means you... Yes. I was a witness in the Joe Dark trial. And I didn't see that one coming. Alright then, got any stuff you want to talk about? It happened 2 years ago. It was right about this time of the year, too. Coincidences? I think not. There was a terrible thunderstorm that day, unusual for the season. I was alone in my sister's office. We were planning to eat dinner together once she finished her work. Then suddenly, this terrifying man came bursting into the office with his very angular face, Joe Dark. It seems like he was running from someone. He pulled out a knife and screamed at me. As crazy people are tending to do, yeah. I didn't know what was going on. Just then, Prosecutor Marshall showed up. Jake Marshall's brother. Joe Dark tried to make me hostage, but before he could, Mr. Marshall tackled him. Then, what happened? I'll never forget it. Lightning struck, and the lights went out. Suddenly, a bolt of lightning flashed outside the window, lighting up the office for an instant. When I saw what I saw then burned a permanent picture in my mind. I can still see it now. A permanent picture? Interesting. I don't remember the moment when Dark stabbed Mr. Marshall. So you weren't able to testify about that? No, I was only asked about when I was attacked. That must be why she made up the crime. Made it up? You mean provided bogus evidence? The prosecutor's office wanted the guilty verdict so badly. Lana forged the evidence and Mr. Edgeworth used it. Edgeworth? Yes, but I'm sure he didn't know anything about it. Although I'm pretty sure he's probably going to be emotionally devastated about it. It's not like he's been having kind of a freakish complex about it the best, few days or anything. He couldn't have known he was being given false evidence. Even so, that's when it all started. The rumors about Mr. Edgeworth, I mean. It's all my fault. If I could have just testified properly, none of this would have happened. So it's true, even though he may not have known it. Edgeworth really was involved in falsifying evidence. After that case ended, Lana was never the same. She became cold, like she is today. She must not have been able to face up to what she did, especially not to Emma. Damn! Well, that would explain it. What did you see in the instant that crime occurred? Dark knocked down Mr. Marshall and raised his knife. Neil Marshall was stabbed right in front of this poor girl. Whew, and she's still so young. I don't remember what happened after that. Apparently I passed out. When I came to, Lana was cradling me in her arms. Poor Emma. You've been through so much. Far more than anyone in your age group really ever should. I couldn't bring myself to testify about that instant. I tried, but the words just wouldn't come out. I drew a picture, but it wasn't very good. 2 years ago. You must have been 14. That's understandable. Yeah. Once it was all over, I made up my mind. I decided that when I grew up, I'd become a scientific investigator. I want to be able to fight crime with my testimonies and find the evidence to make an airtight case. That way, Lana would never have to forge any. I see. I think I'm finally starting to understand what makes Emma tick. But there's still something that bothers me about that crime. And what would that be, Sir Phoenix Wright? There's something that's puzzling me, Emma. What is it? You said you were in Lana's office at that time, right? That's right. Why then would a serial killer come running in there? Not only that, but he was being chased by a prosecutor? Oh, there's no mystery there. Joe Dark had been taken in for questioning that day. Taken in for questioning? You mean by the police? Of course. This happened at the police department. He tried to run away halfway through the interview and fled into my sister's office. But why did he run all the way over to your sister's office? Because the detective offices and the questioning room are right across from the elevator. Across from the elevator? But Lana was the chief prosecutor, wasn't she? No, silly, didn't I tell you? 2 years ago, Lana was a detective. She was the best in the entire force. What? That's news to me. After the Joe Dark case, she was transferred to the prosecuting's office and made chief prosecutor. Lana used to be a detective? I'd better have another talk with her. Assuming we've got nothing else to talk about already. Okay, that certainly is a fair shake of information. Thank you very kindly. Alright, assuming Lana's gonna be willing to talk to us, she hasn't exactly been cooperative up to this point. Lana? Mr. Wright, it seems I keep causing you trouble. Yeah, that tends to happen. Falsifying evidence? I didn't think you were the type. Criminals don't mind playing foul, why should we? But Lana, if you're wrong, an innocent person might be found guilty. Believe me, I understand the risks. Lana, Emma told me about you. Oh? About how you were a detective 2 years ago, and how the SL9 incident was the reason for your transferal to the prosecutor's office. That's right. Could you fill me in on the details, especially about that unusual change of jobs? Kinda not exactly the same thing, you know what I'm saying? I suppose you have a right to know, Mr. Wright. Hot damn! I'm actually gonna get told some stuff. Alright, lay it down. A lot of revelations were uncovered at the trial today, not the least of which the fact the case is largely connected to another one 2 years ago. Evidence from that case was stolen. I expected as much. I know how obsessive Officer Marshall can be. That trial, it really wasn't fair, was it? I believed in you, Lana. I believed that no matter what happened, you'd always stick to the truth. It couldn't be helped, Emma. At that trial 2 years ago, I sold my soul. Well, all drama aside, the fact of the matter is, at 5:15, there was no murder at the police department. Tell me it's not true, Lana, what the witness, Miss Starr, said. About you stabbing Mr. Goodman with a knife. Lana, I don't understand. Why won't you tell us? Emma, this doesn't involve just me. I don't think I've ever seen Lana look so fazed before. Granted, you don't know her that well, so I mean, you've only seen one expression, and that was kind of discontent. It's true, I was a member of the police force 2 years ago. She was amazing. They still talk about all the cases she and Chief Grant cracked together. Chief Gant? Then he was the vice head of criminal affairs, but he still worked the crime scenes. Damon Gant. He was everything I aspired to be. They were the best team ever. They solved crimes before the reports could even be filed. Emma really idolizes her big sister. No wonder she's taking this so freakishly hard. But now you're chief prosecutor. What happened? I always planned on becoming a prosecutor. The reason I became a detective was to gain experience investigating crime scenes so you could later use that experience in court. Gant's help in the SL9 case was critical in its resolution. After that, he became chief of police and arranged my transfer to the prosecutor's office. Maybe I should ask more about the investigation of theirs 2 years ago. I will talk about all the things! 2 years ago, I was second in command of the detective's investigation, Dark. Second in command? That means the chief detective was no doubt Damon Gant. Yes, Detective Gant and I share the same office and the same investigations. They even had the same office. We led a team of the best detectives on the force, which just so happens to be everybody you've met up to this point. Detective Goodman, whose case it was, Jake Marshall, and Angel Starr. It was the first time Marshall worked with his brother. He was quite gung-ho. He's a bit of an enthusiastic type, you might have known. Without a doubt, Joe Dark was the serial killer. We asked him to come in for questioning. We were desperate for evidence. That was when the last murder took place, when he tried to murder Emma. and successfully murdered his brother. Yeah. Prosecutor Marshall was trying to save me from Dark. You see, the first person who happened upon the scene of the crime was me. Now you tell us. Oi, 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 oi. It's just one thing after another with you. Detective Gant and Prosecutor Marshall were the ones questioning Dark that day. The investigation was in its final stages when Dark must have panicked. He waited until Gant and Marshall let their guards down, then fled the room. From there, he ran straight to the office shared by Detective Gant and myself. That's where he found me. So you were the first person to run to the scene, Lana? It appears so. I was filing some papers while Gant and Marshall were questioning Dark. Ooh. Well, that's a grisly sight. When I returned to my office, I saw 3 bodies on the floor and smelled blood. 3 bodies? Prosecutor Marshall, the victim, Emma, who had passed out, and the suspect, Joe Dark. During the struggle, it seems Mr. Marshall struck a final blow before he died. Joe Dark had incurred a minor concussion and lay unconscious. What did you do? To be honest, I panicked. I picked up Emma, carried her out of the room, and just held her. Can't blame her after all. Her sister must have gone through. Yeah, that's actually a perfectly acceptable course of action. After that, I placed Dark under immediate arrest. Let me get this straight. You were all involved in the SL9 incident. That's right. Quite a coincidence, I don't buy it. What are you saying? There's no way everyone involved in this trial was also involved in that incident just by chance. But that case was solved 2 years ago. At least one person went to extremes because they didn't believe it was truly solved. Officer Marshall. Yes, his actions came as a surprise to me as well. Ever since his brother died, he's changed completely. Yeah, I can see how that might happen. I guess he wasn't convinced with the ruling against Joe Dark. Life doesn't end with the closing of a case. Everyone has to live the rest of their lives with their memories. That case just might not be over yet. Eh? Emma was assaulted by Dark at the police department, right? Yes, in the office that Damon Gant and I shared. The office that Mr. Gant now occupies by himself. The Chief's office. Maybe we should have a look at the Chief's office. The site of the final SL9 murder. If that's what I gotta do, then that's what I'm gonna go do. Y'all just keep sitting there and maybe I'll show back up. I don't really know. I don't know where this investigation is gonna take me. I don't see Detective Gumshoe anywhere. Things seem kind of quiet around here today. You're right. The head of the department seems the same, though. Why don't we go look for some other people to talk to? Right. We can come back here later. And that is exactly what we shall do. I just wanted to... Okay, so the police department entrance. I'm not sure how all of these buildings are connected. It's very confusing. Oh, hi. Howdy, Bambina. Mr. Marshall. I kind of figured you would have been, I don't know, put under arrest. You know, I mean, you didn't kill anybody, but you still, you know, assaulted an officer. I imagine that's still a crime, even if you were an officer yourself. Never thought things turned out this way when I woke up this morning. Que sada sada. You never know where life will lead you, eh, Bambina? I should have known my luck had run out when old Billy dried up this morning. Billy? Must be his pet cactus. Say, where are you headed? Just over to the prosecutor's office for a little interrogation. It's a voluntary appearance, but we all know I won't be coming back. Ah, okay. Sorry, but you can't go in the evidence room today, partner. But Mr. Marshall, why did you do it? Why do prospectors head west? I have no idea. If ever there was a case I needed to know the truth about, it was that one. Before you turn yourself in, Mr. Marshall, would you mind telling us exactly what happened? Looks like I won't be getting a steak lunch today. Or for the next year or so. I don't really know how many years you can get put away for what you did. Something was fishy about that trial from the beginning. It wasn't just me either. All the detectives thought so. What do you mean, fishy? Some of the facts reported were inconsistent with the evidence we found. For example, the murder weapon. The murder weapon? You mean that switchblade knife with the broken tip? That was Joe Dark's, all right. But in the initial autopsy report, a question was raised. A question? The blade of the knife was not a perfect match with the wound the victim sustained. What does that mean? It means there's a good chance that knife was not the murder weapon. Oh. However, in the report that was finally submitted, that possibility had been erased. Could the facts have been concealed with forged evidence? That case left behind scars on all of us. The scars that the SL9 incident left behind. Oy, okay. I got the looks, but he got the brains. He was one of the best prosecutors around. And had just made detective when it went down. It was our first case together. How old was he? Your brother. He was 27 at the time. Oh, that's way too young. He was awarded the highest honor that very day. The highest honor? You don't mean King of Prosecutors. Not that again. What are you looking at me like that for? That's an honor for a prosecutor. Mr. Marshall must have really been close with his brother. Siblings tend to be that way. The day the SL9 incident took place, that wasn't the same day as... That's right. It was the day of the evidence transferal. Interesting. It was drizzling that morning, and by nightfall there was thunder. I can't believe 2 years have gone by already. I tried to steal the evidence so the case wouldn't die. Apparently, someone tried to stop you. Detective Goodman was murdered, and the evidence locker was empty. So, questions, so many questions. There was something going on behind the scenes in that case. We all knew that later. Every detective involved in the investigation, save one, was taken care of. Miss Starr was fired, and I was demoted and boxed away in the tiny room. What about Detective Goodman? If they did something to him, too, the commissioners would get suspicious. Yeah, that actually would be freakishly suspicious, but honestly, I would have raised an eyebrow at the first two. No, they were careful enough to not be too obvious. They? Who are you talking about? Don't get upset, Bambina. I mean Damon Gant and Lana Skye. I see. Chief Detective Damon Gant and his second-in-command, Lana Skye. They solved crimes. There wasn't a person on the force who hadn't heard of the duo. That case was the biggest step in both of their careers. After the case ended, Lana transferred to the prosecutor's office, right? Yeah. Damon Gant, the new chief of police, arranged for that to happen. She's never been the same since she left. Everyone who knew her said so. Chief Prosecutor Skye was totally different when she was a detective. Now that he mentions it, Emma said something like that too. Tell me, what happened to my sister? Sorry, Bambina, but her secret is too well guarded. I never found out. On a secret. It all started 2 years ago. Something very clearly took place. So there you have it. That's my story. Did you enjoy it, partner? It was certainly enlightening. There's one thing for sure I found out in court today. That boy Edgeworth isn't my enemy. Eh? He was the one who used falsified evidence to get a guilty verdict. But someone else was the one who gave him that evidence and planned everything. That someone is Damon Gant. I knew he was shifty! Don't believe me? Well, I don't blame you. I won't even be a patrolman after today. Too bad I won't be around to work with you when you become a real scientific investigator. Adios, Bambina. Wow, that was actually really sad. I mean, I understand why he did what he did, but I don't know. I just don't know. Okay, so where exactly is the office that I'm looking for? Oh, this place is always pretty empty, but today it's deserted. That must mean everyone's busy solving crimes. Oh, if you're looking for the others, they're all in the conference room. Thanks? Disembodied voice? Wow, he actually talked to us. Chief. With the chief prosecutor saying what she did and the decision about what to do about Mr. Edgeworth, not to mention our statement to the media and tomorrow's trial, there's more chaos going on than Thanksgiving and Christmas put together. I think festive is the word usually used for those. Sir, we'd like to have a look around Chief Gant's office. Just dead across the hall to the other building and take the elevator to the top floor. Really? You mean it's okay for us to go in there? I mean, we aren't police officers or anything. Hey, you're right, you can't go in there, it's off limits. Now I see where Detective Gumshoe gets his unique charm. Well, what are we waiting for? Let's head to the office and do it anyway. To hell with laws. To the chief's office. Is that is that a pipe organ? It's like a grand piano. No, that's a pipe organ. That's a grand piano's great aunt. Holy crap. How freakishly extravagant can you get? Whoa, where am I? In the chief's office, silly. At least that's what it said on the door. Check out that pipe organ. That's real, isn't it? Hey, I used to take organ lessons in kindergarten. They used to call me Little Miss Bach. Cute. I thought I was a genius until they tried teaching me, something. I never could remember where C was. Huh? Oh, okay, hi, person probably involved with a lot of misdoings. Not a fan of being in the room with you. I'm getting I was always kind of iffy around you, but now that all these accusations are getting thrown around, I'm getting a real Von Karma vibe from you. He put that paper he was reading in his desk. So, Mr. Wright, have you been swimming lately? No, I haven't. I've been kind of busy lately. I can appreciate that. I've had my hands full, too, with Mr. Marshall's misconduct and Lana's proactive statement. Provocative, I mean. Whatever, same thing. Oh, you mean about the forged evidence. 2 years have passed since that incident. My, how time flies. See that big picture on the wall over there? Indeedy I do. That's a picture of Lana, Neil, and me. So this is Mr. Marshall's brother, Prosecutor Neil Marshall. We took it to commemorate our work together. Something's not right with this picture. Alright, well, one thing's for sure, I can tell you right here, right now. Hang on a second. Hang on just a second. The unstable jar. It's right there! Okay. So, I mean, we got that much going for us. Alright. Also, hang on, as I scrolled by, I'm not entirely sure what it is, but there's something on that trophy that's not on this one. Okay, got it. I can only assume that whatever Phoenix is talking about is one of those two things. I can't quite seem to put my finger on it, though. Alright, we get to hold on to that. Good. It will likely come in handy. He's doing his creepy staring thing again. Huh. Anyway, I'd like to reminisce all day, but there are matters that need my attention. I'm gonna lock up here, so let's go out together. Oh, but this office. It was a crime scene 2 years ago, wasn't it? That case has long since been over. There's no need to investigate it anymore, and I'm not hiding anything. Shut up. Get out of my office. All the same, we'd still like to have a look around. Perhaps you didn't hear me. I said there's no need to investigate it anymore. We can't have you unearthing any long-lost secrets that could lead to me being proven a horrible criminal or something. Now, hurry up and get out. I have a meeting to attend. Oh, yeah. I don't know what you did, but you done did something. Looks like we aren't welcome. It seems that case isn't over with yet, after all. What do you mean? Chief can't deny our request to search the crime scene. I mean, there must be a reason he doesn't want us looking around in there. You mean like a clue? There's gotta be a way we can get inside the Chief's office. We've just gotta figure it out. Okay. Just jump back here. And more! Every time I come back here, it's a brand new scene. Hi-ho! How you doing, Gumshoe? Hey, pal. Detective Gumshoe! Were you in a meeting? I was, just taking a breather. My feet hurt. From sitting so long in the meeting? Actually, I had to serve everyone coffee. Sounds like a Detective Gumshoe's still out of the loop. Say, have either of you seen Mr. Edgeworth? Edgeworth? No. Why do you ask? He's under fire from both the police department and the prosecutor's office. It's almost like the battle's between you two in court. That sounds serious. Is it because of what my sister said? That's basically what it all boils down to. I falsified evidence 2 years ago. Now Mr. Edgeworth has the whole world after his blood. Oof. Alright, well, perhaps you can, bestow us with some information, say? But why would Edgeworth be blamed? It's not like he knew the evidence was forged. Lana Skye is the guilty party here, isn't she? Yeah, sorry. Regardless, the prosecution is responsible for the evidence he presents in court. Not only that, but as you know, there have been a lot of rumors going around about Mr. Edgeworth. Those who don't like him haven't been able to do anything because of his amazing talent as a prosecutor. But now with this, are there really so many people who hate him? Well, I mean, he was kind of a huge stuffy jerk, and he's only slightly less of a stuffy jerk than he was before. So, I mean, I can see how he'd make enemies. In our world, only those with talent rise to the top. Mr. Edgeworth not only had that, but he's young. There's no better recipe I know of for making enemies. Fair enough. Hey, Dick, keep up the good work. Yes, sir. Let's go out for lunch again sometime. My treat. Yes, sir. You gotta take me back to that joint again. Okay, Dick? Yes, sir. It seems you don't have any problem with enemies. Yeah, well, I'm careful not to stick out. Anyway, I'm a bit worried about him. Under all this pressure, I'm afraid Mr. Edgeworth just might crack. I ordinarily wouldn't say that would be possible, but given the circumstances, yeah, maybe. Actually, I took a look at the file earlier while the coffee was brewing. He seems genuinely concerned for Edgeworth. Well, did you find out anything? The only evidence Dark left behind was during his final attack. His final attack? You mean when he killed Prosecutor Marshall, who was trying to protect some girl? Yeah, some girl that's standing next to you. Me. It seems Detective Gumshoe never realized Emma was the girl. That's when he left the most incriminating evidence of all. Well, what was it? Oh, let's see. I think it had something to do with the murder weapon. Oh, I forget. Look, it's all written somewhere in here, okay? His powers of recollection never fail to impress. Maybe we should show him the murder weapon. It might jog his memory. That I most certainly can do. Alright, hold up. Hold up, hold up. Just, oh, nope, that's not what I wanted at all. Ugh. Coordination. Why ain't I got none? Alright, let's see. Switchblade knife! About this? Hey, don't tell me that's! There's a tag attached to it with the label SL9 incident on it. I believe this would be the broken murder weapon you were speaking of. What are you doing with that? Ever since that case was closed, that knife's been locked away in a locker. That's where you typically lock things. On the day Detective Goodman was murdered, this suddenly disappeared from the locker. And was found in Mr. Edgeworth's car muffler. That's it! Now I remember what that incriminating piece of evidence was. When you showed me that knife, it all came back to me. Well, what was it, Detective? Quick, before you forget again. Oi, I have to select it from a freaking drop-down menu. Why don't you just tell me some words? Oi, just tell me things. This knife, it was Joe Dark's, wasn't it? That's right. We traced it back to the store he bought it at, and it had his fingerprints on it, too. But no one actually witnessed him using it to murder anyone, right? And that's where his luck ran out. Whenever you take a good look at the knife, you'll see it's broken. You don't have to take a good look to notice that. Yeah, well, anyway. Take a guess where the broken off tip of the knife was found. That's what did him in. Where was it? The victim, Neil Marshall, was carrying it inside his own body. Ah. It was found deep inside the stab wound. Did it match Dark's knife? You bet. Down to the last fiber. That's pretty conclusive. Oh, and I got an autopsy report. And the switchblade knife has been updated. Handy. Thank you, Mr. Gumshoe. Joe Dark was 42 at the time of the crime. He was just your run-of-the-mill businessman. Businessman? What made him take to serial killing? One day on his way home from work, he hit someone with his car. With his car? So it was an accident? An accident, yes, but it transformed him into an animal. An animal? And I ain't talking about the lovable Muppet. He killed a man that witnessed the accident. Then he killed a lady and a kid walked by just then, so he killed him too. Then he was burying the bodies. A jogger came up on the scene and was killed as well. Finally, he turned himself in. Jesus! Seems he was a pretty careless animal. Of course, this is all conjecture. There wasn't a single shred of evidence. How did he kill so many people without any evidence? He wasn't even being a professional about it either. So he turned himself in. Yes, but in the middle of his questioning, he fled and murdered his final victim, Prosecutor Marshall. That crime was witnessed by someone too, but fortunately he was arrested on the spot. It's a good thing that last witness wasn't killed. That last witness, he must mean Emma. Sheesh. Well, there you have it in a nutshell. That's all I know. Can I ask you one more thing? What is it? If it's money you need, you should ask Chief Gant. It's not money, but it does concern the chief. His office is a crime scene, right? It's where Prosecutor Neil Marshall was murdered. The chief's out now and his office is locked, but we'd like to have a look around if that's okay. Well, any detective's ID card can unlock the door. What? Really? But if I let a civilian in there, I'd be charged with breach of trust. Breach of trust? Simply put, I'd be canned. Oh. Sorry, pal. I don't plan on getting fired because of you. How about this ID card? It was Detective Goodman's. That won't work either. The data was just deleted the day he died. Oi. So, in other words, Gumshoe is our only chance of getting into that office. Because Lord knows there ain't anybody else we'd be able to trick into helping. I wonder if there's something we could show him that would make him change his mind. Something that would make him care less about his job and more about finding the truth? Huh. Well, I don't think I have that right now. At least, no, yeah, I definitely don't think I do. So, I guess I just gotta look around. Anything going on in here? Yeah! No one's here today, not even Miss Starr. Everyone's probably busy looking into what exactly went down in the evidence room. That must be where the detectives are. But we proved in court today that no one was murdered in the evidence room at 5:15 p.m. on the day of the crime. Yeah, I thought we were finally making some headway in our case. But instead, it looks like we just ended up making Lana look even more guilty. Hang in there, Lana. I've got to find all the answers by tomorrow. Oh, yeah. We can't count on a miraculous, like a 4th day of investigating. My goodness. Let's see, maybe Edgeworth is there?